is required, and editing is a skill of itself. You can write, but to be a writer in the 21st century, or even the 20th century, you need to be able to edit your own work. That's just a fact of the matter these days. And you could argue, well, what do they have editors for? Yes, well, they edit your work to a certain degree, but it has to be up to a certain standard. And you can only reach that standard through hard work and consistent perseverance, basically. I do believe anyone who perseveres long enough will get there, because it gets easier. I'm not saying it's you know, it's so easy that, you know, you don't have to put any effort in it. It never gets like that. The writing process for me it's constantly, I'm constantly challenged and you know, being taught by each piece I do, so it's still not easy, but it does get easier. But yes, you've got to be able to criticise your work. Maybe criticise is the wrong word to use here because of negative connotations that people conjure up when I use the word criticise. Basically, I suppose it's important to be able to judge your writing, and to say, hang on a minute, you know, this little bit isn't right and needs a bit tweaking. It's all about tweaking, really, about correcting the big bits and then just tweaking it up little bits here and there. Yeah, it's never easy, and sometimes I have pieces where I'm like, oh, you know, how am I going to ever get through this piece, because it's so hard to tweak, yes, so hard. And I think to myself, I'm never going to do it. You know, we still have, as writers, we still have, I don't know, we're not the most confident bunch of people, you know, but there are ways of getting around it, and at the end of the day we just have to say, this piece needs to be in, you know, it has to be how many words long, and, you know, I can do this. You've got to really believe that you can do it, and you can. Yeah, so those are a couple of ways to avoid, well, not avoid, but help handle rejection. And also the thing is, writers' circles help as well, because sometimes when you're going through a piece, it becomes so, when you're editing a piece, it becomes so tedious and boring, and you want to give up, and you're like, no, I can't possibly work on this piece anymore, it's doing my head in, I'm bored of it, I hate it. Taking that piece to a writer's open mic session, or cafe as they're called, helps you to refocus, because other people can give you insights into your work that you haven't seen. And that's the thing with anything. If you're in a study group, that will give you, if you're in any type of study group, other people will always give you another point of view on your work that you've never thought of, because you're only one brain, and how many brains can sometimes work differently than just your brain, because you're limited by what's in here, and other people can sort of take it off the page, take it apart for you, and see another viewpoint, and it could be easier to fix, and it usually is than you think. Yes, so I just want to say here to aspiring writers that rejection is not a bad thing. It's like a learning curve. Everyone has to go through it. Everyone who writes, you know, everyone, not just writers, but as writers we have to go through a certain type of rejection, which is the rejection of our work. It's just basically about listening to your gut feeling as well when you're going through editing things. If your gut feeling says, I don't think this bit of this writing piece I'm working on is quite right, just tweak it. Always listen to that inner voice that's saying, no, this isn't quite right. Not the one that says, oh, this is complete rubbish, I can never finish this ever in my life. Don't listen to that one, because that one is just like the chatterbox. But listen to the one that says, oh, I think, this needs changing a bit. And also, when you're going through reworking, I find that I like to listen to rhythms of words, so I record my pieces after I've edited them onto a microphone on my computer, and I listen to the rhythm of the words, and if it doesn't sound right, then I change it. And because it's strange, because prose does have the rhythm. I'm a prose writer. Prose does have a rhythm like poetry, and when you've got it wrong. It'll just sound wrong. I can't say more than that. It will just sound completely out of sync with the other words. So that's how the town basically. Yes. So my message is that don't take rejection to heart. Once you've had your first rejection, it actually gets easier to deal with it. But rejection is even part of established writers' careers, because sometimes they